Hello everyone, it's Kari back here with you again today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to be sharing a very fun card using this brand new stamp set from Missing Stamps called Independence Bear. And this is super cute with the bear and the bunny. They've got a flag and there's plenty of sentiments to choose from. I'm going to be using this stencil today. This is from the previous release just last month. It's called Perspective Floor Stencil. And I'm also going to be using this brick stencil for the background. Now, I thought this would also be very cute if you wanted to add some fireworks. You could use the Mischief Maker stamp set that recently came out as well from Missing Stamps, and that would be so cute with the fireworks in the background. I didn't have time to make that one today for this video, but I will probably make it real soon in the future. I'm going to start out by stamping this with a Copic-friendly ink. Today I'm using Gina's Amalgam ink, and I really do like this ink. I'm going to stamp it a few times to get a nice dark impression, and I'm going to leave that stamp right in my MISTI because after I'm done with the coloring, I'm going to stamp it down once again. And you'll see that because I want it to have a nice dark impression after I color as well. Today I'm going to share a fun technique with you to create some fuzzy bear fur. And this is a fun technique you can use with your Copic markers or any alcohol markers you may have. I'm going to start out by coloring with some warm gray inks. And I'm using these W9, W7, W5, and W1. I think I skipped the W3 on this because it needs to be re-inked. But this is going to work out just fine for this technique. There are a couple things to remember when you're making some fuzzy fur like this, or any kind, or you're using this technique at all on any of the coloring, and that is that you want to color the image that you're doing this technique on first. And so today I'm going to be using this on the bear to create that fuzzy fur. So I want to color the bear first and nothing else. And it's really important to color it up, allow it to dry, and then apply the next step. So I'm going to finish coloring this up. I left a little bit of this in for you so you could see how I'm doing the coloring. And then I'm going to then move on to the technique. So I'm just finishing up the bear here. I'm creating a lighter face for this bear so that you can see his cute little expression, his eyes and his nose. And so I'm just creating like a little bit behind or underneath his face, and then the rest of his face will be a little bit lighter. So I'll just finish that up with the Copic coloring. And because there was such a width between the colors of Copic markers I'm using today, I'm going to use the tip-to-tip coloring technique to help this to blend just a little more. So I'm taking the lightest color and rubbing it on the W5 tip so that I can get those to blend a little better for the face. And I will go over this a little bit more just to get a really nice look. For his little paws, the pads of his paws, I'm going to use a pink color, and I'll also use that pink shade on his ears. But first, let's do this technique to make the fuzzy fur. So what I have here is some Copic colorless blender. This is the 0 color, and this is going to act as a resist, or not really a resist, but it's kind of going to help to make a design in that Copic coloring. I want to make sure this is fully dry first, and I've got a terry cloth towel here. This is just a small little piece of a terry cloth towel. I'm going to put a small amount of that re-inker of the colorless blender on that terry cloth towel. Then I'm going to scrunch it up and I'm going to press it onto the coloring. And you're going to see that it's going to remove some of the coloring. It's going to actually push some of it out a little bit, and it's going to create a really fun texture on that bear. And it will make it a little bit fuzzy as well. So you can see that here a little bit. I'm going to allow that to dry before I do any of the other coloring. And then I'll color up the flag and the bunny. Now, I did create a mask to put over this bear so I could do the next part. And I do need to say that when I let this dry, some of the ink of that gray went outside the lines of the bear. And so I just used my 0 marker, the colorless blender marker, to push it back in. So if you find that yours has spread just a little too much, you can press that back in with the colorless blender. It does take a little bit of practice to know how much to put on that towel to create the effect that you're looking for. You really don't want a lot. You don't want to put too much because then it will really spread. So it's a little bit of trial and error. But you can see that I just pressed it down for just a second or two and then brought that back up. So now I'm going to use that perspective floor stencil. I decided to use the cobblestone with a light gray ink and then the brick stencil for the background. So it's like they're sitting against a building, right? Watching a parade. That's what I'm imagining anyway. So I'm going to use this nice red shade of Distress ink. This is Festive Berries. I'm just putting a very light amount on there because I don't want this to stand out as much as I want the bear to stand out. So this is just a really light little bit. And then I'm going to add some Rusty Hinge Distress ink to give it a kind of a dual color. I'm going to add just a touch more. I think I needed a little bit more there. So I'm lining that back up again, adding a little bit more, just like that. And that's going to give it an interesting two-tone look. So kind of an older brick building, I'm guessing. And then I'll remove the masks and you can see our coloring. You can see how this is going to sort of turn out. It's really cute. I love this image. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on once again and also stamp on the Happy 4th of July sentiment. I'm using VersaFine Onyx black ink because it's a nice crisp black ink. And the reason I didn't use this at the beginning was because it's not necessarily Copic friendly, but it works for stamping right over. And then I'm just going to add a few dots to the tummy of the bear and kind of blend that out a little bit. I just thought it needed a little more texture right there on his tummy. So I'm going to do that. And then I'll add this to our card base. It's a nice sturdy card base, again 110-pound cardstock there. And to finish this all off, I felt like it needed a few stars. So I didn't add the fireworks, but I do have some stars here from a die cut in my stash. I'm just going to color them up with a little bit of yellow Copic marker and then pop those up with some foam tape to give it some dimension. This card is essentially a 1-layer card until I did this. But that's okay, I kind of like a little dimension on my cards. And then I'll add that, and to finish that off, they needed to be a little sparkly, of course. So I'm using my stickles with glitter in it, and that'll calm down the yellow just a little bit and add the sparkle that I'm looking for. So this is going to really make it pop. So after that dries, you'll see that there's a nice little sheen of glitter over the top. Look at that. There's our card. Sweet little bear, sweet little bunny holding a flag. I love this set. I really, really do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the blog and the shop for all the new release products. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.